Welcome back everybody, my name is Tucker, this is Sporting Logically, and for those of you that might not have been around on the channel for very long, the title of this video might seem to be a bit strange. In the past, I've come out with a handful of illogical awards videos, whether it be the player or GM or franchise editions, and these videos are ones in which I point out some kind of mistake they made in my eyes and give out a sarcastic award as a result. With that said, let's go ahead and get started with the 2018 NBA Offseason Illogical Awards. First up is the Flip Flopper Award, one that I made up specifically for a strange series of events that occurred this offseason. And the winner is new Kings forward Nemanja Bjelica. After a strong season as a three-point specialist for Minnesota, he originally committed to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers as a free agent. This seemed to be a good fit for both sides, as Bjelica would play a valuable role spacing the floor for a Philadelphia team that will need all the help they can get in that department next year. But then, after reportedly reaching an agreement with the Sixers, he instead decided to return to Europe and play overseas next year. But apparently, all it took for him to stay in the NBA after all was more money and long-term security, as the one-year deal he agreed to with Philly turned into a 3-year, $20.5 million contract with the Sacramento Kings. Now, I don't blame him at all for taking the better deal, even though I'm not really sure what the Kings were thinking in offering him that kind of money when nobody else seemed to be interested in doing so, and he isn't even the only player on the roster for next season that did this. Yogi Ferrell backed out of a contract with the Mavs to sign a slightly more lucrative one with the Kings as well. But what puts Bjelica over the top as the winner of this award was his commitment first to Philly, then to playing overseas, and then to the Kings. Next up is the Crabbe Award, given to a team that matched a restricted free agent offer that will likely come back to haunt them later. This year's winner is the Chicago Bulls for the Zach LaVine deal. Okay, before everyone starts killing me in the comments, there honestly wasn't a ton of competition for this award. But even with that said, I don't have a great feeling about the future of Zach LaVine as a near $20 million a year player. He is just 23 years old, but has only played in 71 games combined the past 2 seasons. And in those 2 seasons in which he was fully healthy before that, he put up okay stats on some bad Minnesota teams. So basically the Bulls are banking on him getting healthy off of a serious knee injury, while returning to and improving upon the form he showed in those 47 games he played with the Timberwolves in the 2016-17 season, in which he admittedly had a strong start to the year. The problem is he was not a very efficient scorer in his 24 games in a Bulls uniform this past season. Now, the usual caveat of returning from injury and having to shake off the rust does obviously still apply, but disregarding that is basically saying that he won't continue to struggle with knee issues, which is far from guaranteed. He could very well have a strong season next year and throughout the life of his contract, and with the salary cap as high as it is now, paying a player nearly $20 million a year isn't as big of a commitment as it used to be. But for me, there's still just a lot of risk involved here given LaVine's lack of production that would warrant this kind of deal and his risk of knee injuries. Next up is the Locker Room Disaster Award, given to a team that made a move this offseason that is most likely to cause huge issues in the locker room. And this year's winner is the Washington Wizards for the Dwight Howard signing. This one is just honestly too perfect of a bad match between team and player. The Wizards have been notorious for various locker room spats and team chemistry issues in the Wall-Beal era, most notably the Everybody Eats fiasco instigated by Marcin Gortat last year, while Wall missed time with an injury. And now they basically added a guy that, by all reports, nobody has liked having in their locker room throughout his career, and especially since he left Orlando. Howard, for all of his physical gifts and strong play on the court, apparently just doesn't have a personality that meshes well with most other NBA players. This was true even before his trainer started making ridiculous comments about how Dwight was transforming his game this summer, but how on brand those statements are tell you everything you need to know about Howard's reputation across the league. Just like with any of these awards, I could turn out to be completely wrong, and Howard could be just the kind of jovial personality this Wizards team needs. But if his past stops are any indication at all, that likely won't be the case. And now for the last entry in this year's Offseason Illogical Awards, the Tom Thibodeau Award, given to a team that made a new coaching hire this offseason that they'll likely regret in a season or two. This year's winner is the Orlando Magic for the Steve Clifford hiring. Similar to the second award I gave out, it's a bit difficult to find a winner here simply because there aren't a ton of obviously bad choices among the 9 teams that changed head coaches this offseason. For most of them, you can find a pretty solid argument for why the guy they brought in makes sense for that team. But to me, I really struggle to understand Clifford's fit in Orlando. The Magic aren't going to be good this season and will require a good amount of development from their younger players to be good anytime soon. So bringing in a coach with a proven track record of developing young players would be an ideal fit, and I just don't think Clifford is that guy. To be fair to him, Charlotte is a tough place to try and build a team, and it's hard to tell how much say he had in drafting decisions as well. But the young players he coached with the Hornets rarely reach their potential. When you look at their current roster, there's a pretty long list of guys that just didn't pan out relative to where they were drafted. And once again, you could just put that on the front office's inability to draft good players, but there's at least a share of the blame that falls on Clifford as well. Kemba Walker did improve to an all-star caliber player under his watch, but Orlando might have the worst point guard position group in the league, so that won't help much there. In the end, I don't think Clifford's a bad coach, just a bad fit in Orlando that likely won't last long with the Magic. And there you have it, the 2018 NBA Offseason Illogical Awards. If you missed any of my previous Monday, Wednesday, Friday videos, then be sure to check out the boxes on screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.